This thing on? Mic check. I just want to make sure y'all can hear me clearly. Yeah. Should you practice art? Or should art be your practice? I had a question, so I asked it. Not to anyone specifically, but to my inner God, you know? The one that's gonna be a master. The one that's more than a rapper. The one that's an educator. The one that seeks enlightenment. He travels with concepts. He's got the mindset expansive. He understands that his time combined with travel and concepts makes his mind convex. Sort of like when you look at a brain scan.
Reggie here, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. This is Comics Today, a show that we do on Wednesday to celebrate the best day of the week, that being New Comic Book Day. And as part of this show, we come together as a comic book community. We talk about some news and current events, things that are top of mind for me, might also be top of mind for you. Normally, we have a guest or two on to help me to make sense of something that is happening in the world of comics and collectibles. But tonight, we will not be doing that. You'll just be getting more me. Above all else, we try to have a good time, and fingers crossed that tonight's show is no different. In a moment, I'm going to be going to the live chat here to see what it is that you guys may have picked up at your LCSs. So get ready. If you went to the LCS and you picked up some stuff, I want to know what you picked up. If you read something that was good, that we should prioritize reading, I want to know that so that we can make that adjustment. And if you didn't pick up something that was truly a new book, but was a new to you book, we want to know about that. If you picked up something awesome, let us know. That way we can live vicariously through your spending of money. And I can tell you, I welcome that right now, because I just had to pay some bills related to the channel. And yeah, that's never any fun. Tonight, we're going to talk about a couple of things. As you see, probably from the headline, there is a rumor that Disney is going to be selling itself to Apple. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Masters of the Universe. And I don't know what else. I don't know what else is going to come up based upon what you guys may be putting up in the chat. So rest assured that I will be going to the chat, hopefully frequently and often, to see what you guys are talking about. Chris Bigger says, at least part of my wall is dope. I have a feeling which part of the wall Chris is referring to. And it is not the top row. It is not the top row that he is talking about. It is the bottom row, because he is brainwashed. Chris Bigger has been brainwashed by DC. He is one of my reporters that funnels all kinds of news to me. And for whatever reason, it's always DC related news. Very rarely does he give me anything related to Marvel. I wonder why that is, Chris Bigger. That's all that I'm saying. Doug is on the board. Doug says, I picked up the first 3 issues of Something Epic. Issue 1 was fantastic. He has to read issue 2 and 3. Doug, I saw your post up on, I think it was Instagram. I'm going to have to check that out. I saw it and I was like, I need to read that. I will tell you, today I've been reading this right here. Shout out to Skybound. Skybound's been hooking me up. They send me a stack of stuff every single month. Class War. I've been reading Class War, and I did not know what the heck Class War was when I sat down to read it. It's about superheroes, and you guys know I love some spandex, so I sat down to read it, and the artwork is okay. The story is interesting. I'm intrigued. I'm only maybe 10, 12 pages into it, but I am intrigued. I don't know how thick this thing is. 180 some odd pages, 84 pages, but there's artwork at the end. Those are nice pages. Wow. I'm going to enjoy reading this. Reading this. Shout out to Skybound for hooking me up. Class War is what I'm reading, but Something Epic is something that I also want to check out based upon Doug's recommendation. Going to the chat. Thank you, Tina. Definitely appreciate that. I changed the wall. I think it was yesterday. or the day before. I changed the wall. The other wall had been up there for quite some time. Can you guys figure out the theme? There are basically 2 themes that are happening on that back wall. One is very apparent. The other potentially won't be apparent to people because there's at least one piece that confuses it that may prevent people from figuring it out. But let me know what you guys think. Milt is up in here. Milt, is good to see you. Says, really like that Jenny Friesen cover on Red Sonja #1. That's what's up. Steve's on the board. Picked up books, but my two that I'm looking forward to are Blade 1 and Void Rivals 2. Need to cut back on my pull list, brother. I respect that. No doubt about that one. I'm looking forward to reading Void Rivals myself. Issue 1 was a little predictable, but enjoyable nevertheless. And then there was the unexpected reveal that even though I knew kind of sort of that it was coming because of things that people were saying online, but it was still an enjoyable read. Fingers crossed issue #2 is going well or goes as well. Juggernaut, it's good to see you, brother. Randy Resnake is up in the house. It's good to see you, brother. What is that? SSFD, sorry about that. No LCS, but got my Spawn 301 previously McFarlane sign. There you go. That's what's up. Remained a 9.8. There you go. Congrats to that, brother. That is awesome because that does not always happen. What is that? Impact winner. I think I have that. I have a couple of stacks of books. Here we go. Impact winner. Yeah, I have not started reading this one. This was also from Image Skybound right there. Impact winner. Rook is what it's called. Impact winner Rook #1, Noctera Nemesis, Blade 1, Moon Knight, City of the Dead, Dune, House of Harkonnen, and several other books. Dead Romans. Scott P is all about the Dead Romans. That's what's up. Thanks for getting on the board there, brother. Scrolling through. There's something besides DC. Yeah, imagine that, sir. Imagine that. Everything, your computer must be set up to only acknowledge things that involve the words or the letters D and C. I think that's it. Looking forward to Blade. Life is good and something epic is amazing, says Life is good. That's what's up. Scrolling through, the pastor's on the board, says he's hyped for Fall of X. That's what's up. Scrolling through Antarctic 1. I read that one. I told you guys about that. It's actually sitting. I have a stack of them over there. I actually sent some out already to Patreon members. Antarctic 1, Hunger and the Dusk #1, Night Terrors #1 were all great reads this past week. Still have to get to my LCS for this week's books. That's what's up, Jason. Thank you for putting that out. Part of the reason why we do this is to reinforce that there are people out there that actively buy new comics and that there are people that actively read said comics. And there are indeed new comics that are coming out that are still good and worth picking up, right? That there's a reason why I do this, because there was a subset of people out there that just believe it's all about the money. We are too focused on money. No one actually reads comics. People are only buying comics for the purpose of trying to make money, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know if that's true. And every single week, we try to celebrate New Comic Book Day and what it is that people are picking up and reading. That is why we do it. Scrolling through, there you go. Steve is on the board. I'm telling you, I was impressed by Antarctic 1. I really was. I was sitting out on the patio. I started reading it. That and Fireflies. I read both of them back to back. I was not quite certain where the stories were going to go, but I was entertained. And I was intrigued. I'm glad you all decided to pick it up because I think it's an interesting read. Fingers crossed that it continues to perform. The bottom, yes, is Silver Age Bat Villains. What I was attempting to do with the bottom part over here was do all checkerboards. I wanted to do a bunch of the DC checkerboards because I love that, and I didn't have enough books to do it the right way, so it ended up just becoming the oldest Batman books that I have. That's what it basically became. But the top row and that part over there, I'm wondering if people can figure it out. Kareem Grant, welcome, brother. I'm not sure if I've seen your name before, brother. So welcome to the live stream, and thank you very much for spelling my name correctly. If you wanna just keep it superficial, you are correct. Oh no, I just read that. Don't get Chris Bigger upset. Scrolling through, let me see. Batman. Yeah, I would agree. I think you guys are onto something with that one. But again, look at the top row. Look at the top row. Lake Joda, I think that's how you say that. Welcome to the live stream. Scrolling through Dead Romans has been an enjoyable read. I'll be honest, brother. I started reading issue 1 and I was struggle bust because I think it was not in current English, and it was like the these and the thous. That just throws me. It always has thrown me. I There is a method to my madness. There is a method. Scrolling through some of the comments here, seeing what you guys read. Indie Comics, says Doug. There you go. Something Epic has been a great read. Okay, a lot of people are getting on board with that. That's what's up. Rob, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you, my friend. Scrolling through the comments here, seeing what else you guys are talking about. I think I'm a little Chris. How are the new DC horror books? That's a question that Steve White's throwing out there. Scrolling. Ooh, Milt. Whoo, Milt. Whoo, Milt. You, sir. You, sir, may be waiting for a long time. I have some Howard the Duck in the extended 100K collection, but not a single copy graded. I did, however, give you a nod in one of my videos this week in which I spoke about the unnamed first appearance of Howard the Duck in a book. If you guys did not see that video, I encourage you guys to check it out. But I gave Milt a heads up that I was going to be doing that. Scrolling through Trev, the shipping guru. How you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Dead Romans issue number 1 was a train wreck. Then they fixed it, says Mark. I remember talking to you about that issue, and you were like, I'm going to pick up issue 2 and I'm going to see how it goes. Clearly, they may have righted the ship. So scrolling through the comments, no, it's not a Top Cow wall. No, absolutely not. I don't have enough Top Cow. Skybound stuff. Dark Ride is a bunch of stuff that Skybound sent over to me. Wanted. That's a pretty cool cover. I dig that. That's a cool cover right there. What does that say? Special 20th anniversary edition. I'm not sure what kind of pistolas those are. Kind of looks like a 1911. They kind of sort of look, a couple of you in here may know what that is. I don't want to shout out names and reveal confidences, if you know what I mean. Scrapper number 1 came in from Skybound. Who doesn't love man's best friend? Big Game from Pepe Larraza, issue number 1. This is 1 of 5. I have not read that, but that's a cool cover. We may get to read this one. I Hate This Place. I also got the other replacement word that is not hate. It is more, provocative, spicy, if you will. I think that says Pure Evil. This material that they did this cover with is different. This one is not like the others. It's a little glossy. Okay, yeah. All right, so this is Pure Evil right there. And then the last one that I have is Arcade Kings. So I'm going to be sending some of these out, hopefully here to a couple of lucky people. I got a nice stack of stuff over there that I want to try to get out of the house, out to some people that can benefit from it. Thank you for using the more PC title for that book. If you know, you know. You guys are awesome. All right. So this week I had 2 conversations with 2 potential sponsors. I will say that I'm excited about both of these opportunities. One of the sponsors may be lurking somewhere here in the live stream. I told them that you guys tend to show up early for these live streams and hang out talking to one another. And I kind of touted the fun that we have as part of a live stream. So there may be a sponsor lurking somewhere here. So Blue Wrenches, be on your best behavior just in case Chris Bigger gets out of control and we have to put him in timeout for a period of time. Just, you have been warned, Chris Bigger. All right, let's move on. So there has been something that has been in the news, and it came out, I want to say originally like 5 days ago. You guys got to fact check me. Like 5 days ago. And it took a few days for people to twist it it took a few days for people to twist what was actually said and turn it turn that news into something completely different than what it was actually about. And it was actually really interesting to see. And no one batted an eye at the original news when it dropped, but the perversion of it prompted multiple people to send me articles, to send me DMs, to ask me if I had heard about this. And I was very quickly to be like, no, I don't think that that's quite true. And then I started to see the crazy headlines. So Bob Iger, who is the new, I guess, interim CEO of Disney. He is the returning CEO after they got rid of Bob Chapek. Bob Iger came out of retirement after 11 months to take on Disney again, to try to right the ship, to try to fix all of the things that were broken in the 11 months since his departure. And so he sat down with CNBC to let them know a couple of things. First and foremost, he was like, I am extending my tenure as CEO. We thought that we could get the work done in about 2 years, but we've got some stuff done, but we recognize that there's a lot of other challenges out there and it's going to take some time to right the ship. So he announced that he was extending his tenure or his contract by an additional 2 years. So I think he's going to be on board leading Disney until 2026. I do believe that that is true. Again, you guys can fact check me. And so he gave a rather lengthy interview that has been chopped up into pieces by CNBC and released in various ways across social media, on their website, et cetera, et cetera. People took some of that stuff and as I mentioned, they twisted it, they perverted it, they combined it with some old rumors that were circulating out there. And what ended up happening is we ended up getting headlines like this. Disney CEO Bob Iger is rumored to be preparing to sell the company to Apple. Rumors of Disney being possibly purchased by Apple are a real thing. I will tell you, I don't know what this news source is. But I do not believe that headline is true. I do not believe that headline is true. So that, and again, sometimes you have to look at the source of where this information is coming from. You have to look at the article and look, is he actually quoted as saying that? Is there someone that is named actually saying Disney is going to sell itself to Apple? I did not hear it. I did not see it. But what I think has happened is people are taking some old rumors that existed, taking some old quotes from Bob Iger and contorting them into something that reads like this. And I think previously Bob Iger made a statement where he said, if Steve Jobs were still alive, I could see us combining our companies. That was the statement that was made a while ago. I want to say when Bob Iger returned after Bob Chapek's departure, there were rumors again that potentially Apple would be buying Disney. And at the time, Bob Iger said that was pure speculation. I think that was like a direct quote. It's pure speculation. So again, I think people are taking what he said in the past, some rumors in the past, and mixing it with some things that he actually did not say most recently. But to that point, I actually want to play a brief snippet of his interview, this will hit exactly what he really said. Let me see if I can actually get this thing to work. Fingers crossed. Ooh, let's see if we can make this magic happen. This is one of those instances where it would be amazing if I could just say to like a producer, go to cut one or something like that. That would be amazing. But let's see if this thing works real quick.
ABC, the network, the stations, but then the cable networks as well.
Yes, correct.
FX, Nat Geo. Is it possible you would look to sell them?
We're going to be expansive. I think if you can interpret what that word means. You know, we're just getting at that work, but we have to be open-minded and objective about the future of those businesses. Yes.
Meaning that they're not core to Disney?
That they may not be core to Disney, yeah. Now, there's clearly creativity and content that they create that is core to Disney, but the distribution model, the business model that forms the underpinning of that business and that has delivered great profits over the years is definitely broken. And we have to call it like it is, and that's part of the transformative work we're doing.
Right. Well, we've been having this conversation for a very long time.
Well, I
now,
think what I'm saying
in terms
is
of the
it's
erosion
time.
of the linear business,
Yeah.
and now it's kind of closer to obsolescence.
Well, as I said, when I came back, one of the things I discovered was that the disruptive forces that have been preying on that business for a while are greater than I thought, and so it's eye-opening. There's a reality to it that we have to come to grips with, and we have to come to grips with that now.
So essentially what Bob Iger was saying there was that the challenges that are facing their linear business, that being like TV news, which includes like ABC and some other entities, is under attack, and it is not performing well. Historically, it has done well, but at present, it is not doing that well. He went on to say that those entities are not core to Disney anymore. And he says that the content that they create is core because they leverage it elsewhere in the Disney ecosystem. But those entities in and of themselves potentially are not core to the business. So he is objectively examining that business and is going to make a decision about what actually happens. And so he was pointing to basically selling off a less than profitable part of his business. He goes on to actually talk about ESPN and how he wants to keep ESPN, but is going to be taking a different approach with ESPN than some of the aforementioned non-core linear business. And he kind of alluded to potentially partnering with someone to make ESPN actually work, because I think he really believes in that part of the business. Now, what's really interesting is that Bob Iger actually got his start at ABC and worked his way up, and was later ABC was later acquired by Disney. So he has grown up since I think like 70 something in this company. He loves Disney. This is a guy that loves buying stuff. And so again, I think that what he was talking about has been taken out of context, combined with some things that were said previously, into something that doesn't even closely resemble what was being discussed. And I think, a couple of people I saw up in there saying that it was clickbait titles. I would absolutely agree with that, because it was actually false. What they were saying, I do believe, is false. I do not believe that Bob Iger has been brought back to basically sell off Disney in its 100th year. Like, they are literally celebrating their 100th year. I don't see them selling it. And I don't even know if regulators would even approve Apple buying all of Disney because of antitrust implications, right? It's one of those things that when you take a step back from it, you're like, is there truth here? I don't think so. I don't think that there is any truth. Let me go to the chat real quick. I saw a couple of people saying that Bob Iger should buy Swoldier Publishing. I absolutely agree with that. Bob, if you are watching, we are ready to go. We are ready to go with that Make Baby Yoda travel. Did you? 2 weeks later, Disney sold the album. Hey, brother, stranger things could happen, right? Stranger things have happened. You never know. But the thing is that if you really listen to the various clips of his interview, at no point that I heard did he say, I'm about to sell to Apple, right? I think he was like, you can speculate all you want, but I'm not going to say anymore, right? And he was saying this to the interviewer, but you never know. Don't know when the last time I watched ESPN, brother. I'm not a sports guy, so I would say you probably have me beat. Why would someone twist someone for the clicks, brother? For the clicks. You already know. Let me see. Scroll through Bob Iger. We have a great streaming set. Bob, you are currently losing $800 million on Disney Plus, brother. Okay. What's a few million more? By isolation, we are streaming. What's a few million more between friends, brother? I'm a shareholder. Let's go. Let's make it happen. Doug is ready. Doug is ready to go. Elon Musk is still trying to digest Twitter's, I don't think is doing all that well. They are losing money still hand over fist. I don't know about what's Apple have like $1 trillion in cash on hand. You know, that was one of the big debates, is how much money do they really have that's liquid cash ready to rock? You know, they probably do have the cash. They probably do. You know, it's a thing of, will the board and Bob Iger want to sell? Would Apple actually want to buy, even though Apple's always in a buying mood? Would they want to buy? Because I mean, that's a big pill to swallow. If you think about the movies, the TV shows, the studios, the parks, there's a lot there. The controversies that are currently going on right now, there's a lot going on there. And I mean, they have a ton of debt, I do believe. Bob Iger isn't watching. Here's the thing. If anybody's still watching Bueller over Reggie at this point, you're on the losing team. We have surpassed Bueller in subscribers. Bueller's over. It's over. It's over for Travis. It is all about Regie Collects. I'm just throwing it out there. I need one of those cool black. You guys are hilarious. Let me see. Scrolling down. Again, what's a few million more? I mean, really, when you're losing $800 million on your streaming because you're investing that much, you won't miss a couple more million. You really won't. Heck, Netflix just canceled something and they like flushed 30 million down the drain. I take half of that. I take half and it'll be all good. Netflix, Disney, whoever's watching, isolation. That's all that I'm saying to you. Scrolling through the comments, Starship Disney, Apple buys isolation, then would it become ice? Brother, they can call it whatever they want. I don't care. Doug might. Reggie doesn't care. Scrolling through, I suspect that a Disney Apple merger would have a difficult. There you go. That's what I'm saying to you. That it would be a lot of antitrust stuff. They would probably have to cleave off lots of stuff. More than likely, there's going to be a lot of synergies, if you will, just because there always is, which means that there's going to be job loss. It would be very tough. And I mean, even Bob Iger's comments about potentially selling off the non-core business, that was met with a lot of anxiety. There were people that work for those divisions that he mentioned that became very concerned that he was going to sell them off and cleave them off and that they were going to lose their jobs. So I'll actually look at that in a hot second. So let me scroll through some of the comments here, seeing what else you guys are talking about. You're on the list. There we go. 27. We made it. I put up a post and I said, we're getting close to breaking 27,000 subscribers. And I think I was 2 below it. And then I think all of a sudden, we jumped up to 27,020 or 22 or something like that. A healthy number of people came in all of a sudden. I'm very thankful, not just for those people that signed up yesterday, but also for all of those people that have been here to support the channel year after year, month after month. You all are appreciated. Scrolling through some of the comments here, seeing what else you guys are talking about. Why doesn't Disney Plus merge with another streaming service, losing big money? So what's interesting is that Bob Iger made some comments about that. He was like, because the interviewer said, well, do you think it was a mistake to go into the streaming business? And Bob's comment was, no, I don't think it was a mistake, because if we had not gone into the business, people would then be saying, why aren't you in the streaming business, right? Everybody jumped into the streaming business. If you guys remember, we've spoken about this repeatedly. There are just too many streaming platforms. Everybody and their mother has a streaming platform, and this always happens. Think about the browser wars and the hardware wars. There is always this massive uptick of investment, and then you have some winners and you have a lot of losers. And the winners are winners because they just have better stuff, or because they team up with other people and they do a little bit of consolidation. We heard from the CEO of WB. Warner Brothers not that long ago. He made some comments about that, about potentially partnering up, teaming up, sharing content, right? Trying to find a way to not go it alone. And I think that's part of the reason why I think it is Disney that is combining Disney Plus and Hulu. I think it's them, or maybe it's Warner Brothers. I get some of them confused sometimes, but I know that there is some synergies that are about to happen, and there are going to be more companies that are going to just go by the wayside. I will tell you that you cannot continue to lose $800 million. That is not sustainable. It really is not sustainable. Scrolling through, and somebody's got to keep me honest about some of the stuff that I say, because I get off on a tangent and just start making stuff up. So you guys got to keep me honest. There you go. There, Liger Styles on the board. There you go. Plus, Apple needs that extra streaming power once combined Disney and Hulu. There you go. So the challenge is Apple needs a lot more than that, brother. The Apple shows, in my opinion, just they cannot compare with Netflix. They cannot compare with Netflix. And so in my mind, it's tough. I was about to try to rank them, but it would be tough. For me, Netflix is number one. Netflix, I think, is one of the only that actually added subscribers recently. They've been losing subscribers like nobody's business. And I think it's probably even a net negative at this point, but they were able to add some people, but they also lost a lot of people. And if you look at the totality of what they lost, I think they're still negative, but they're at least maybe trending in the right direction. Fingers crossed that actually made some semblance of sense. Let me scroll down through some of the comments here. So I want to show, let me show this headline real quick, because this is one of the other headlines that popped up here as a result of Bob Iger making those statements about the non-core business. So it says Bob Iger moves to calm Disney staff after sparking high anxiety over potential sale of TV assets. And again, this comes from CNN Business. And again, this was not about selling all of Disney, but selling the non-core linear business, that being the TV related assets. And so in an offsite staff meeting on Wednesday, the Disney chief executive spoke to senior leaders of the company's television business. The meeting came just days after Iger made candid remarks on CNBC in which he said Disney's linear business may not be core to the entertainment giant, a comment that immediately sent shockwaves through the industry. Now, had he said we're selling Disney, that really would have sent shockwaves. People, again, made up that little nugget. And this article kind of goes through the fact that he caused a lot of anxiety in his additional comments. He says here, "I'm ridiculously passionate about news. It's important to this company. We need to figure out how it makes the transition into streaming, and I happen to believe we will endure. It's too good, it's too important, and it's really fun." Of course, these comments are unlikely to entirely calm the rattled nerves of those working at Disney's television business. So again, people feel like he said it, but he's still going to potentially cleave off that business because he considers it to be non-core. So, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. You hate to see people losing their jobs, and fingers crossed that it doesn't come to that, but you never know. You never know how any of this stuff is going to go. But in his long interview, there were moments where he actually spoke about the performance of their movies, and he actually spoke about Marvel specifically when prompted. Well, he said it unprompted once and then was prompted again a little bit later. But let me play that segment for you guys so that you can hear it. And again, if I had a producer, I would say something like, go to cut 2.
Our zeal to basically grow our content significantly to serve our mostly our streaming offerings, we ended up taxing our people way beyond, in terms of their time and their focus, way beyond where they had been. Marvel's a great example of that. They had not been in the TV business at any significant level. Not only did they increase their movie output, but they ended up making a number of television series. And frankly, it diluted focus and attention.
Marvel and Star Wars, too much. I mean, you almost indicated kind of it's been a little much. Do you pull back in a way?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah. Yeah, you pull back not just to focus, but it's also part of our cost containment initiative. You know, spending less on what we make and making less.
So I think that that's a great comment, to be honest with you, and it is very much in line with things that Bob Iger has said previously. There's been a lot of complaints about burning people out, especially when they had the special effects stuff. There were a lot of complaints that these people weren't working under the best conditions, didn't have the right amount of time to do the work the right way. People, the community, viewers of the movies and the TV shows have been complaining about the quality of the content. And I think Bob Iger has repeatedly over a period of time said that they were going to be cutting back on the amount of content that they were releasing for several different reasons. One, to prevent burnout of the people, because they need to focus more on quality. And as you heard there, the cost, there's a tremendous amount of cost for them to do this. And they were churning through content in an attempt to bring it to the streaming platform where they're losing $800 million. They cannot continue to do that. They cannot continue to release really expensive blockbuster movies and to have those movies and TV shows underperform. So they are going to do like many people do. When stuff gets bad, you get small. That's my approach. I say this, we have to get small as a family, right? We have to cut out the non-essentials, get small so that we can be stronger and be able to survive and move forward. And I think that is what Bob Iger is talking about. There is no way that you can continue spending, $200 million, $300 million or more on a production, then spend hundreds of millions on advertising and marketing for that movie to underperform. You cannot continue to do that. Shareholders won't tolerate it. Board of directors won't tolerate it. And it seems like Bob Iger absolutely gets that and is putting the kibosh to it. Unfortunately, with the cutting back of that content, we've seen it over the course of the summer. There is also some job loss that goes along with that. Less content, less jobs. There are layoffs. And so it unfortunately, again, results in people losing their jobs. Let me go to the chat real quick to see where you guys are. I love 3 really good Marvel movies and 2 excellent shows per year with reasonable budgets. Again, they like everybody else was capitalizing on the pandemic. And that sounds bad, but people were trapped at home. And as a result of being trapped at home, people had a lot of free time. People had a lot of cash. You increase your content during that time to capitalize literally on that captive audience. But the economy is not where it was before. People are no longer captive. And so what you were doing before, you cannot continue to do now and expect the same results. And again, I think that cutting back and releasing less content, but really good content, that's the way to do it. That is the way to do it. That is the way to right the ship. Speaking of righting the ship, welcome, Richard. It is good to see you, brother. Welcome, welcome. I've been seeing you in the comments, but I don't think, to your point, I've seen you in the live stream for a while. Quality is always better than quantity. I'd rather wait a year for good stuff than to have mediocre next month. Pastor, I absolutely agree with you, brother. I absolutely agree with you. What is it? The heart grows fonder with time, right? So put some distance in it. Take the time to write really good content. But let's take a step back. The other reason why they're going to be cutting back on content, and a lot of people are, is because of the strikes that are going on, right? Like, they don't have a choice. I think that, again, Bob Iger, when he came in 11 months ago, I can't remember, whenever he came back, he began signaling that they were going to cut back because it was the right thing to do. And now you also have all these strikes that are going to have an impact on what studios are able to put out. Studios and streaming platforms are all going to be impacted. Fingers crossed that the powers that be do what's right by the people, and fingers crossed they shrink these budgets, spend better time on writing really good content, and put out less stuff but better quality. Fingers crossed that is where we are actually headed. Scrolling down, I would love 1% of the money they blow, bro. You and me both. Sign me up. For those people that are coming in a little late, we spent the last little bit here talking about Disney and the fact that Disney, I don't believe, is going to be selling itself to Apple. There are a lot of clickbait titles out there right now that are basically taking some things that Bob Iger has said in the past, combining it with some rumors and mixing it with a recent interview to concoct this thing that leads people to believe that Disney in its 100th year of existence is going to be selling itself to Apple. I do not believe that to be true, but I do reserve the right to adjust my comments should this actually happen in the next couple of weeks. I got a caveat because you never know. You never know which way this thing is going to grow. They need to search for some great writers, said Liger. Yeah, man, some great writers. Maybe give the writers that you have a little bit of extra time to do their best work. Keep the studios out of the honeypot, because sometimes as a business person, the worst thing that a business person can do sometimes is to involve him or herself too heavily in the creative process. I am the type of person that I'm not creative like creative people, right? So I try to give guardrails and parameters for creative people to operate in while simultaneously giving them space to be creative and to have a vision, articulate that vision, and bring that vision to life within those guardrails. When you have somebody inserting that's not a creative inserting themselves too much in the creative process, you get a product that is a watered down version of someone's vision. That's essentially what you get. So I think that you have to have both parties. You have to have the business side, but you also have to have the creative, and you have to have boundaries for those two entities to work together in a manner that produces the best possible product. When that happens, there is magic to be made. Scrolling down through the comments. So the wall theme is Marvel and DC first villains. All right. So here's the thing. The wall is mostly symbiotes. Take a look at that. The wall is mostly symbiotes and symbiote related stuff. That's what it is, mixed with Batman. That's what it is. If you think about it, Wetworks, the Gold's uniform or whatever that is, that's a symbiote. Everything up there is basically symbiote related. Black costume, origin of Black costume, Venom's first appearance, Carnage first appearance, Null's first appearance, and then we have Wetworks over there with the first appearance of that team, and then a bunch of Batman stuff back there as well. That is what the wall is. I wish I could have done all symbiote, but I didn't have enough stuff to be able to do that. So we just cobbled some stuff together. That's what the wall is. Scrolling through some of the comments here, see what else you guys are talking about. Practical effects need to be used where they can. CGI became the norm, and it's costly and very noticeable when poorly done. Do not disagree with you, brother. Again, so there's another news item that we're going to get here to in a minute that piggybacks on what we've been talking about. But I'm not in the movie business, right? But I know how things go. People always want to spend more money because they believe that by spending more, they're going to make something that is better. That's not always true. And what you see is these really bloated movie budgets, these really bloated marketing and advertising budgets that are being rolled out. And the movies, because the quality isn't there, the movie fails to live up to that type of budget. The economy cannot support that. The economy is not going to support multiple billion-dollar movies in half a year. Like, I just don't think that there's enough of that cash to go around right now, right? So getting small, focusing on quality, right? Leaving stuff maybe up to the imagination versus green screening it in with the CGI and all that stuff. Maybe that's where people need to go. They need to have a little bit of imagination and allow people's minds to maybe fill in the gap. There have been some really low budget movies this year, and I think at the end of last year as well, they came out that have done really well, where they spent like 10 million and made great money, not 100, 200, 300 million dollars combined with another, 300, 400 million in marketing and advertising. I just don't think that it works. I don't think that it works. The CGI stuff, let slack up on all the CGI stuff and let's do some practical effects. Again, some of the best movies I remember from my childhood, man, I don't think they really had special effects. Aliens, the whole Aliens franchise, man, I loved it. I love that stuff. Scrolling through, again, Richard, it is good to see you, brother. I know a lot of people have stuff in their lives that are going on, so I always appreciate it when people are able to swing by, hang out for a little bit. Scrolling through some of the comments here. There is a comment here from Run Me Through. I'm not going to throw it up on screen, but I will allow you guys to read that one in there. This strike is going to go on for a while. The AI issue is going to be the big landmine in the negotiations, says Scott. Do not disagree with that, man. The AI stuff is a little scary, brother. It's a little scary. Scrolling through. Peter, do not get ahead of the show, Peter, don't get ahead of the show, brother. I'm going somewhere. Scrolling through, let the creatives roll and let the business people figure out how to make money off of all that. And again, I think Frog Brawler, it is a combination of those things, right? Because if the business person is not involved enough, then things don't get done on time. If they're too involved, then they start to water down the process and get in the way of creatives being creatives. Creative people don't always meet deadlines. So you have to have a little bit of tension, a little bit of push and pull for it to work. And when it works, it works incredibly well. But I think, just like any relationship, you have to have people that are there that know why they're there, that are there to serve a purpose and are allowed to serve that purpose. That I think is how you get the best out of stuff. I remember saying to one of my leaders, he was a chief commercial officer, and I said to him, how do you lead a group or an organization when you've never done that job? Like, if you've done a job and you become a leader of people, you've done that job, you understand that job in and out. And so you know how to do it and you can tell people how to do it. And, when you're leading things that you've never actually done and you're not the subject matter expert, the question is, how do you do it? His comment to me was, you hire good people. He's like, you hire good people, you trust them to do their job, and you ask them really good questions. That's how you do it. Scott, the guy's name was Scott. I won't say his last name because I think he's the CEO right now of a company, so I won't say that. But Scott's nuggets have stayed with me because it was really good stuff. Scrolling down through some of the comments here, Milt seeing the penguin back there. Trev is checking out the Batman. Scrolling through. He does wear a lot of black, doesn't he? He wears a lot of black. Scrolling through the comments here, seeing what else you guys are talking about. Man, so what's interesting is that I released a video yesterday, and I was thinking about integrating Barbie into that book, into that video, because Barbie is hot right now. Barbie is hot. I'll be honest. I thought the Barbie movie was already out because they are making that much noise about this movie. I don't know what the marketing budget is for that, but as a dude, I feel like everywhere I turn, I see some Barbie stuff, right? The movie, I think, drops the 21st. I don't want to know what they spent on the marketing for that one. But what I was going to put in this video was, if you have a 9.8 copy of Barbie, now might be the time to sell, because you might never get that opportunity again. So that I didn't do it, but there you go. Doug's talking about Oppenheimer. I know a lot of folks are excited about that one. So scrolling down through some of the comments here, seeing what else you guys are talking about. Alien was a guy in a suit. It was awesome. It was a guy in a rubber suit, and were they actually crawling on the walls? I don't know, but I will tell you, I watched every installment of Aliens, and I've seen them multiple times. Watch them multiple times because they are fantastic. You guys know, I just watched Thing all the installments of Thing, all 3 of them, and I enjoyed every last one of them. You don't have to do the CGI, do some of the other stuff. No CGI. Good man. We never had any of that stuff, man. Scrolling through some of the comments here, a couple of people looking forward to Barbie. Let me see. I think I'm all good. It'll be interesting, brother. It'll be interesting. Let's see if they can do it. I mean, the CEO for Mattel was on the record saying he hoped that Barbie would have $100 million open. That was his comment, which is that good or bad? I think the movie cost 140 million. I think that's the number that I saw for Barbie. I think it cost $140 million. I don't know what the marketing budget was, but I think the CEO of Mattel is hoping for $100 million open. Again, you guys are going to have to fact check me on some of this stuff. After a while, some of the numbers start to rattle around in my head and not in a very good way. So Sigourney Weaver, cannot go wrong with some Sigourney Weaver. All right. So let me get to this last item. So again, for those folks that have come in a little late, we spent a lot of time talking about Disney and all the stuff that is happening with Disney. So the next thing that I want to talk about is something, again, that kind of sort of dovetails with what we've been talking about thus far. And it's Masters of the Universe. Masters of the Universe movie. The movie that I think has been teased and hinted at since around 2007 is now dead. It is now dead at Netflix. The movie found its way, the IP found its way there via Sony, and Netflix has invested $30 million in development and have now decided to kill the entire project. They spent that $30 million in buying or leasing, I don't know what the term is, the IP from Sony. They used part of that money to retain talent, specifically the directors and I guess some of the actors, by trying to hold those people around. They have spent $30 million and haven't turned on a single camera. But they decided to call it quits. Why? Budget. They have been going back and forth with people over the budget, and the budget ranges somewhere between 180 and $200 million to bring Masters of the Universe to the screen. And Netflix is like, nope, I'm not doing it. Why? Probably because that's too much money for them to ever recover that money. So making things for the purpose of not making money is not what you should do. That is just not the way to go. You have to make some money. So Masters of the Universe, a live action movie based on He-Man and a slew of other popular Mattel toys, is officially dead at Netflix, according to multiple sources. Insiders said close to $30 million has already been spent on development costs, and the cash that's been shelled out to hold on to talent, including the lead and also the directors. Other knowledgeable sources estimate all-in costs for development at twice that figure. So they're saying $60 million, and they will make $0 now that this thing has been killed. I'm going with the 30 because I feel a little more comfortable with that. The latest headaches for He-Man and friends only further complicates the property's journey to the screen that goes back to 27. This thing has been with multiple studios, so including Warner Brothers had it at some point, Sony, multiple directors and writers. And again, now Netflix has it and has decided to call it quits because they could not arrive at a number. The characters formed a much beloved, I read the wrong place. For the latest film iteration, the budget came in at over $200 million, with cameras set to roll in February. Last spring, however, Netflix was confronted with a stunning stock drop that saw the powerful streamer shed $50 billion in value after investors became concerned about the company's subscriber loss. They lost, I want to say it was about 2 million subscribers. They basically cut some stuff off in Russia because of the Russian-Ukrainian war. I think they lost some subscribers in India, or maybe that was Disney. I can't remember exactly. But I think for the first time in a very long time, they lost a lot of subscribers. And I think, again, They did some things to themselves, some self-inflicted wounds with the whole password sharing stuff. They have recently begun picking up more subscribers, but not enough to offset 50 billion in value that was lost. Let me see if I can find the right section here. Let me see. Producers brought back a proposed $180 million budget to the table, and Netflix still balked, never handing the movie an official green light. And there's a lot more stuff that is being said in here, but a budget of 180 to 200 million dollars when I just lost 50 billion. Yeah, that's a no. That's a no. Netflix, if anyone from that network is watching, we have a series called Isolation. We can do it for a whole lot less than even the 30 million. I'm just throwing that out there for consideration. I will even wear the chest piece. If I have to, I will get back in the gym and I will wear the He-Man chest piece for you guys to pick up Isolation. Just putting that out there for consideration. All right, let me go to the chat real quick. I remember seeing that 1987 film as a child and was very upset. Liger sharing his childhood trauma. Sharing his, what was that, Dolph Lundgren? Is that who it was? So sad. He-Man and the Masters development hell. The article actually talks about the fact that the CEO of Mattel believes that Masters of the Universe can be as big as anything that Marvel and DC are attempting to do. He says there are hundreds or pages of original content, of characters, of vehicles that can be brought to life, right? Everybody was trying to be the next MCU. Why? Because the MCU is the most profitable and successful franchise in history. I had somebody say, well, what would happen if Harry Potter had 20 plus movies? If Harry Potter had 20 plus movies the way that the MCU has 20 plus movies, Harry Potter would still not be as successful as the MCU, because in every category, the MCU is more successful in terms of overall revenue generation, per movie generation, and also single movie profits greater with the MCU versus other franchises that are out there. So yeah, that doesn't work. But Mattel is hoping that the Barbie movie is successful. They believe that if the Barbie movie comes out and is successful, that will give them a door to potentially get Masters of the Universe made. The challenge, however, is that they've already been with 2 studios, right? Netflix has now rejected them. They have approached another studio after Netflix rejected them, and that studio too passed on them. The streamers are not in a good place, as we've spoken about. So I don't know where Masters of the Universe will go. You've been rejected by 4 studios. The other streaming platforms are not doing well. Maybe Apple, maybe Apple, because Apple, to the point that we've been making over the course of this show, might actually have the pockets and the wherewithal to be able to make some magic happen. So what is that? You have to do a She-Ra and yeah. So let me see. Scrolling through, Harry Potter movie is 25. He-Man versus Barbie. The only way. There you go. Bring out Silverhawks. Where is man? Back in the day, I could have been a good Silver Surfer. I will tell you, there are some black and white photos of me in a gym. Very Silver Surfer-esque. I'm going to just throw that out there. I can get back in the gym if we need to make that magic happen. Happy to make it. No, I wouldn't be happy, because that's a lot of suffering. That's a lot of suffering. Bring it on. Let's do it. I'm ready. I'll work for cheap. I will tell you. I would just couple of millions. I saw somebody talking about the Powerball and some other stuff. I have my tickets. I am ready to go. I have all my irons in the fire. I just need 1 or 2 of them to get hot, and I am off and running. Jon Stewart, Silver Surfer, Isolation, or the Mega Ball. Like, there you go. It is. Oh, you guys are hilarious. You guys are hilarious. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you very much. We have been working hard trying to make some magic happen, and thankfully, people are finding their way to the channel, and I'm very thankful for that. So scrolling through, I think I'm all caught up. I think I'm all caught up on on the comments that you guys have left. Let me go to my phone here real quick to see if there is a comment or two from previous videos that I want to respond to. There's some really good ones that have come out. So this is from Turnstile. As someone new to the hobby, I haven't had the chance to build my comic book collection just yet. However, I wanted to take a moment to express my sincere appreciation for your valuable insight. Your videos have been a great source, and I genuinely enjoy watching them. Keep up the good work, and thank you for sharing your knowledge and passion with us. That, again, is a comment that was left on a video, I think, from yesterday. Shout out to him. Occasionally, I have a bad day, and I'll be honest, it is nice to have someone just say thank you. It is nice. Like, it is a simple thing, but sometimes when you're not feeling that great, or you've been reading a lot of comments that aren't great comments, to stumble upon one that is positive, it makes a difference. It really does make a difference. So again, shout out to Turnstile for that. There's another comment here that I want to, this one came from Stacy. I've been watching your videos and others on your channel, and I'm finally getting ready to send in some of my keys for grading. Mostly thanks to you, Reggie, and the quality of your informative videos. Amazing how so many of these books, that person didn't say that, but these books are relevant to a particular era and particular characters. And this was a video that I released yesterday. Matt Woods, thank you, brother. Let's go. 30K. Let's do it. Let's do it. We are on our way. However, I wonder if in cases such as Something is Killing the Children, if there is a chance of a lower grade copy of the book regularly garnering a higher price due to less being available. That it was actually a good question, and is a question that I've received from a lot of people in the past. So shout out to Stacy for asking that question. The short answer is no. The short answer is no, is that a lower grade of a modern book will not become worth more because it is less abundant. That is essentially the nature of the question. When it comes to modern books, it is about condition and grade, right? I say condition because if it's a raw book, that's condition, right? So in my mind, so condition and grade for a new book, for an ultra modern book, I think that it has to be a 9.8. The reason that you don't see lesser grades of ultra modern books on the census is because the math doesn't make sense. You don't spend, and I'm making this up, $50 to clean, press, ship, grade a book that is a modern book that just came out, for that book to be basically worth nothing. 25 bucks, 10 bucks, whatever it happens to be. That math doesn't work. So the fact that when it comes to ultra modern books, the fact that you don't see a lot of them on the census does not mean that those are rare or hard to find or potentially valuable. It just means people are being smart about how they are spending their money. The newer the book, the better the grade or the condition has to be. That is my opinion. Rest assured that if suddenly a 5.0 copy or whatever, 5.0 of Something is Killing the Children, issue number 1, if that book suddenly became a $1,000 book, you would see a crazy influx of low grade Something is Killing the Children issue number 1s that people have stuffed in the back of a box or stuck in a corner or something like that. There are a ton of lower grade modern books that have been damaged that just don't get graded. So the fact that they're not on the census does not mean that they're rare. It does not mean that they're expensive, and it doesn't mean that they have potential to go up in value. All opinions. That is all opinion. But I welcome someone to challenge what I just said there. Again, shout out to Matt Woods for the super chat. I think that's a great way to end. You're not lying. You're not lying about that. And I think, that was one of the other comments I was going to read, was about the larger economy as a whole is having an impact on comics. It's impossible for it not to. Comics are purchased with disposable income. After you pay for the necessities of life, comics are bought with that money that is left over. If you are feeling not uneasy about the economy, if you're not sure whether you're going to have a job, if you're paying more for the other things to survive, you're going to have less money for comics, which means that the value of what is ultimately getting sold, the prices of what is getting sold, is more than likely going to come down because there's less competition to drive the prices up. At the end of the day, with the economy being where it is, I think people have to be smarter about where and how and when they spend their money. Video was released yesterday. I encourage you guys to check it out. It is about investing in your collection. Video coming out tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time talks about books that you should avoid buying. And I think it's a pretty good video. So looking forward to hearing people's thoughts. One more reminder, the video that was released yesterday actually gives you an opportunity to win a $100 credit from my friends over at Shortbox. So do not miss an opportunity to get basically a shot at getting a free $100 that you can use to buy a raw or graded book on the Shortbox platform. Watch the video that came out for all the details on that. All right, with that said, we're going to wrap this up. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me. If you are watching this right now and you enjoyed this live stream, give the video a thumbs up. If you are watching and you have not subscribed to the channel, I want to personally invite you to do so now. That way, you won't miss out on any of the content. And as always, if you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.
Straight off meditation, we was concaving until we had that eternal dialogue that created our dialect. Now we in distinct rooms with pure souls having them conversations. Synergy and combinations. You gliding, we waiting. Indian style in the gold temple of greatness. When you follow the North Star, you coming for the education. This is my audio book. These rhymes are just the imagery. More like an audio graphic novel or a memoir about a young MC making timeless music with his mentor. I pray y'all grasp my letters. Nothing was meant to last forever.